There is no place for all these kind of apprehension that I'm a first generation lawyer or I'm from a very normal, humble background. There is no connection with the judges. We know that a lot of young lawyers are coming from the family background of judges or senior lawyers. Maybe easy for them to settle initially in their profession, but even for them, this profession require continuous dedication, hard work, and commitment. And if you have that, definitely you can also achieve a lot in this profession. And this is one of the wonderful professions in the world.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Superlawyer YouTube channel. Today we have with us esteemed advocate Jose Abraham, who is advocate on record as well. And we are excited to hear his journey, who has authored 5 books alongside his booming practice and the kind of connections he has built and the way he represents his clients. We are most humbled today, sir, that you agreed to meet with us. Thank you so much for joining us here, sir. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Hope you'll enjoy the interview. Welcome once again. So let's start with the very first question, and an interesting one, I would say, that we want to hear your story from your school days till now, the kind of learnings, the kind of pivotal moments that you have gone through in the making of the advocate on record and the author of 5 books, Jose Ephraim. So please.
First of all, namaskaram to all the viewers of Super Lawyer. And I would like to really thank Super Lawyer for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to interact with all of you. And yes, the first question regarding my journey from my school days till today. I am originally from a remote village from Kerala. It is Madambam. It is in Kannur district. Originally, I am from a very remote area. It's a remote village. And I did my schooling from a government school. It's a Malayalam medium school. Why I am saying all these things? Because nowadays people may be thinking that we should be from a light background or convent school education may be required. Such kind of things are there. So due to that, I think let me be honest and let me give you the true background so that at least some of you may be thinking that this may be useful. So, being from a very remote area, from a normal or ordinary schooling, and again, I'm a first generation lawyer. And during my schooling days itself, I used to read a lot of books and newspaper, and I realized the huge role played by the judiciary or the legal profession, and that was the motivation. Actually, my aim was so clear even during my school days by ninth and 10th standard. Yes, there was an ambition for me to enter into the legal profession, and accordingly, for my 11th and 12th, I opted for humanities, and then accordingly, I did my law education also from Government Law College, Kozhikode. It's also on the northern side of Kerala. And accordingly, even during my final years of my law graduation, I thought, why can't I try for civil service? And with that ambition only, I came to Delhi. And fortunately or unfortunately, I did my civil service coaching only for a month. And then I got some kind of realization that if a lawyer who really has the potential to be a civil servant, then a lawyer can do much better job than a civil servant. That was a realization I got in a very short span of training. And then accordingly, I started my practice in the Supreme Court. And then, even though I started my practice in the Supreme Court, I was not restricted my practice only to the Supreme Court because the office which I joined, they have all matters from trial court, high court, and Delhi is a place where a lot of opportunities, a lot of avenues, such as a lot of tribunals. So I used to go to all these places wherever it's possible. And even I still remember I attended matters for even normal challans, normal fines, how that can be paid. Maybe a lawyer may not be even required for these kind of matters, but that is how I started my journey.
Wow, sir. Since childhood, you were clear about your passion. Oh my God, such kind of people we meet rarely who decide in their childhood that they want to become something and they actually prove themselves in that manner. So, you have been an advocate on record for over 16 years now. How has the legal landscape in India evolved during all this time through which you have gone? And what kind of new challenges have you or your colleagues faced? during these days, the kind of changes that we have seen due to technology disruption, due to kind of new laws also coming into picture every now and then. So we would like to hear your views on that as well, sir.
I would like to divide these 16 years of my practice into two periods. That is pre-COVID and post-COVID. Because COVID has changed the entire thing, including our legal profession. Yes, pre-COVID, we know there were challenges at that point of time also. Now, after COVID, the whole things and the systems has been changed, and obviously challenges are there. But I would like to put it in the positive perspective. The whole doors are actually opened for the legal fraternity. Now, sitting at a remote place in Rajasthan, a lawyer can attend the matters in the trial court, in the high court, and also in the Supreme Court, thanks to COVID and the technology. And nowadays, the lawyers, those who are sitting at their chamber and having multiple devices in front of them and handling so many matters at the same time. That is actually one of the best advantage which COVID and the technology actually open for us. So that is one of the best positive side I would like to point out. And yes, I know that there may be a lot of law students or lawyers, those maybe just started their practice, so these virtual streamings are also there. All courts are now in YouTube and separate platforms are there for all courts. So I would like to request all the young lawyers and the law students, whenever you get some time, please watch the proceedings. You can learn a lot of things by watching the court proceedings. Even during my initial days, we used to go to court so that we could see the way in which senior Nariman sir and Andiyarjuna sir, all these legal luminaries, the way in which they address court and the way in which they are persuading judges and the way in which they are getting orders. That time, to witness all these things, we need to be there in the Supreme Court, or at least very rarely they visit the high courts, and once in a while they may get the opportunity to see it from the high court also. But now everybody can see the proceedings, how the constitution bench of the Supreme Court is handling matters. All the top lawyers are arguing for various parties. So COVID has actually given us a lot of opportunities, and along with that, now a lot of technology. There are a lot of platforms now. Superlawyer is again, I think it's a creation of maybe a recent time, thanks to technology. We are getting a lot of opportunities, a lot of platforms wherein we can get or we can interact or we can get a lot of knowledge. That's what are the opportunities of the present day is actually giving to us.
Such beautifully said. Super Lawyer YouTube channel definitely is kind of a recent thing, but Super Lawyer written interviews have been happening for more than a decade now, sir. And it has actually helped us have more interviews on video because people feel a little more comfortable rather than writing and giving interviews. So, yeah, that has helped us as well. So, keeping all this in mind, first of all, I would like to ask when and how do you carve time to write such amazing books? But one of them I would like to ask you about is Indians and immigration, laws, concerns, and remedies, which touches upon the crucial aspect of Indian society related to migration and the kind of Indian migration laws that you have gone through for this particular book and the kind of cases you may have seen. If you could care to elaborate and enlighten us with the thought process of this, that we are migrating. Yeah, that is a very big issue right now.
Yes, as a first generation lawyer, to establish a good practice, we need to do multiple things. And one of the things would be writing books. That will give us an impression that, yes, so and so, maybe an authority in that subject. So that's the reason they are authoring some books. So that way, we will be getting some kind of recognition from our legal fraternity. So I would request our participants or the viewers, whenever possible, start with some writing. Some articles can be published in the newspaper, or now a lot of journals are there. And make use of that opportunity. That will give you an edge. Definitely, that will give you some visibility along with permissible writing books. It's one of the best thing by which you can present yourself before the fraternity, before your clientele. That's one of the things may be required to establish a wonderful practice. Yes, the first book is on immigration. The law of immigration may be a developed area in most of the developed countries. But in India, unfortunately, immigration may not be a developed area so far. And very few lawyers only actually concentrating on this particular area. And then I thought, yes, there is an area. So why can't I concentrate on that particular area and author a book also on this aspect? Because a lot of Indians are moving to foreign countries for job purpose and also for study purpose. A lot of people are moving, so that is also actually covered as per the Indian Immigration Act 1983. There is a legislation on this aspect, and there are authorities, there are system by which the immigration process is governed, and the common man may not be aware about the whole system by which the immigration process are actually happening. So I authored this book as a gesture to educate and empower the ordinary persons who are migrating to foreign countries, because so many of our migrant laborers and the domestic workers are going to Middle East countries, and there are a lot of exploitations happening at multiple levels. There are a lot of fraudulent recruitment agencies. They may be taking huge money and trafficking cases, bonded labor issues. So a lot of issues are actually happening. So I authored this book especially to empower the NGOs and the society, those who are actually into the field of migration and people on the whole migration process. In that angle only, I authored this book. And a lot of cases are actually nowadays coming, multiple platforms such as the magistrate court. A lot of cases may be there on recruitment cheating cases, and whatever happened in a foreign country, then Indian embassy may be the authority to interfere in those kind of matters, and they are the one who is supposed to provide the necessary legal support also for our citizens in a foreign country. And regarding that aspect also, the high courts can entertain petitions with regard to the kind of legal support if the Indian missions or the Indian embassies are not doing. So these are some of the areas and area of litigation related to immigration and migration.
What a beautiful area. And as you rightly said, that there are very few who are practicing this particular immigration laws in India. Outside India, especially developed countries, they have developed their own immigration system, which is more prominent. So, given all of this and your connection with NGOs and you being the global president of Pravasi Legal Cell, what inspired you to establish this particular NGO nonprofit? And what unique legal issues do you actually encounter while dealing with the cases that are related to NRIs, the non resident Indians?
Fortunately, I got the opportunity to establish an NGO, non-governmental organization, namely Pravasi Legal Cell in the year 2009. I came to Delhi in the year 2007 and I started my practice. Even though India is one country, but we have multiple states with multiple languages, multiple things. So I faced a lot of difficulty even during my initial years in Delhi, because I am from southern side. So the language and a lot of things, even I felt some difficulty even during my initial days. And then I decided to have an NGO for providing pro bono legal assistance to migrants. That is how we started Pravasi Legal Cell in the year 2009. Initially, we were providing legal support to the migrants of Delhi. And one of the major class in Delhi at that point of time was nurses from Kerala. And they faced a lot of exploitation at that point of time. There was a bond system prevailing in the nursing field during those days. We know that the constitution specifically says that any form of bonded labor, it's abolished. There is a specific legislation also, but during 2009, 2010, 2011, the kind of bond system which was prevalent in the nursing field was the nurses, those who even after completion of their education, once they are joining with a hospital, they should execute a bond with the concerned hospital by which they should mandatorily work with that hospital for 3 years or 5 years. And if anybody is breaking the bond, then they should pay a compensation of around 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, like that. So that was the kind of system prevailing at that point of time. So I filed a PIL on behalf of one nurse in the year 2009. And in that PIL, the Honorable Delhi High Court initially ruled that such kind of bonded labor is not permitted in the nursing system. And they have even directed the Nursing Council to come out with proper circular and guidelines on this aspect. And then subsequently, we filed another PIL also in the Supreme Court, and accordingly, that issue is settled nationally. So my point is that is how the Pravasi Legal Cell initially entertained and settled one of the issues in the year 2010 itself. And then we slowly expanded our wings to other foreign countries. Initially, it was to Middle East, and now Pravasi Legal Cell is having offices in almost all main countries of Middle East and Europe and America. In all these countries, Pravasi Legal Cell has its chapters, and the prime objective of Pravasi Legal Cell is to provide legal aid for the deserving people and making interventions in the policy level related to immigration.
What an accomplishment, sir. Amazing. Listening to such kind of changes being brought in the society and the kind of discrimination which was happening and the way you have handled it. I really hope that we get such kind of dedicated people in this field as well, and many more to come, hopefully, because all these changes are now required and absolutely important to make sure that India is on the international platform one of the best countries to work in and even immigrate to, because that is one thing which we keep on facing. So, given the fact that you are obviously a avid writer as well, how do you see the intersection of education and law, especially the teaching part? You being the chairman of Paidai Institute in Delhi, how is the legal education in India improved, whether it is for better future or how we are planning to make it even better and competitive on international level as well? What are your views and how to make sure that we are internationally compatible even much more than what we were earlier?
Yes, I could see a lot of changes and a lot of improvement, or see changes in the legal education system during the last decade, especially during the establishment of national law schools at multiple places that actually changed the quality of legal education system in India. Even during my law graduation, the systematic education, it was not there. There were so many law colleges only on paper. And by spending some money, anybody could get a law degree. I heard a lot of such instances at that point of time. But now, as you rightly pointed out, the system has been changed, and now we could see systematic study. And nowadays, the students, those who are even approaching us for internship, they are highly qualified. So the standard of legal education has gone in such a way, and thanks to various authorities, including the Bar Council and various state bar councils, and there are multiple orders also from the Supreme Court for streamlining the legal education. And now, like our IITs and IIMs, the law schools are also giving campus placements, and the bright students can even get huge salaries just coming out from their law colleges. So that's the very encouraging scenario. And I'm also heading an institute known as IDEA Institute. So we provide a lot of training. It's actually for capacity building, especially FOXO, POSH, and RTIs. RTI is an area where we did a lot of work by spreading the awareness of Right to Information Act. We even filed a PAL also before the Supreme Court last year, and in that order only the Honorable Supreme Court has directed all the high courts and all the state governments to establish an online RTI portals, so that nowadays a citizen can file an application seeking information through online mode. So IDEA Institute is for the purpose of providing training and providing capacity building for the ordinary citizens.
Absolutely amazing, sir. The way you are explaining all these things, it seems so normal and so easy. But yeah, over the years, there have been a lot of changes that have been brought in, even in the legal education system. And we have seen see amount of changes even in the thought process of people, because law profession, I don't know whether to say or not, but we in India especially, we feel that whatever other person cannot do, they end up doing legal education. But now we are getting that particular respect which earlier was, even before independence, we had this legal profession which was absolutely respected and it was elite's education. That's what my understanding is. What is your experience while you are practicing in Supreme Court as well as High Court of Kerala and other high courts as well? The kind of difference that you have observed in the legal process, the kind of challenges between these two levels of judiciary, and the way people connect in between these two, sir, because there is always a misconception in between people who do not know the whole process. They get scared, or they feel that it could have been taken care over here, but we had to move to Supreme Court for some reason. But it's not easy to explain. Sometimes it comes to me as well, that why do you have to move to that place? It could have been taken care by the judiciary here. So, how do you take care of such questions and issues when people come to you, when the clients question like these? And how do you make sure that they are happy with the solution that you have found for them?
In our legal system, we could see multiple jurisdictions. Maybe at district level, we have trial courts, and then in a state, we have high courts and the top court, Supreme Court. These are the system we have. And this kind of skill set a lawyer may require at the trial court, and the skill set may be required for the high court, may be slightly different. And yes, obviously, in our top court, the skill set may be more refined. It's altogether a different skill set a person may require. It may be due to the reason that now in the Supreme Court, on an admission day, the court may hear around 80 to 90 petitions within 3 to 4 hours. They will conclude those hearings, and a lawyer will hardly get 2 or 3 minutes to present that matter. And within that time, the court will decide on the aspect of admission. So we should have a specific skill set to handle those kind of matters at admission level at the Supreme Court. But if you see the aspect in an original jurisdiction in a high court, we may not face that much of a difficulty in addressing a matter in a high court, in a writ jurisdiction. So the point what I'm making is different courts may be demanding a different skill set. But Divyaji also pointed out one aspect that there are clients who may say that why can't you address that matter at the first level itself? Why that matter is going to the appellate level? Yes, lawyer can only do their part. Maybe due to different reasons, the matter we may not get justice at the first instance. And then obviously, we have a robust legal system. If we are not getting the proper justice at one platform, yes, obviously the appellate jurisdiction is there, so that if the dismissal order is due to certain misconception or wrongly application of law, we can get it corrected from the appellate jurisdiction. That's what the beauty of our legal system. And yes, different platforms may require different skill set, but my personal opinion is that let us have some kind of experience from the trial court itself, because the trial is the heart and soul or the foundation of a litigation is concerned. So if you can get some experience at the trial court level itself, that is well and fine. And in the high court, we may not be getting an opportunity to deal with the trial and those kind of things, except in exceptional matters. There may be trial kind of things may be happening at an original jurisdiction, but high court, a lot of matters may be on the writ jurisdiction or on an appellate side. And obviously in the Supreme Court, most of the matters are on the appellate matters. And Article 32 petitions, the original jurisdictions are very less in number. Apart from the PILs, the large number of original jurisdiction may be under Article 32, which is PILs. So a lawyer can get some experience at a trial court level. Then the better time is the initial level itself, so that could get a better understanding how the legal system, how a plaint has to be drafted, or how to file a complaint, and how to do the examination, how to do the cross examination. And that much of experience, if you can get at the first instance, then your further process would be easy to be there in the high court or even at the Supreme Court. I saw some of my celebrated or multi-talented colleagues in the Supreme Court, but they don't have that trial experience. Always that incompleteness, that feeling may be there at some point of time. But a lawyer who knows the trial and that experience at the trial court, always having that confidence. So that is what my experience on this.
Wow, sir, beautifully said. And yes, absolutely true. What I also have realized, and thank you for again authenticating it and giving an authority to it, that yes, you should start from trial and you should be open to learning from there as well, because that will make you more of a lawyer than just the arguer, because you will realize how to connect with the clients also. Because in Supreme Court, you really get very less time to connect with the client and their issues. So all of these things must have helped you a lot while you were preparing for your advocate on record examination. And there are so many aspirants for the same, but they do not get the correct way of getting into that particular way of preparing for it and understanding the importance of being an advocate on record. We would request you to share some nitty gritties about the kind of preparations one should do, the resources one can use, and the strategies that you may have followed which helped you become an advocate on record at such early stage of your career.
Advocate on record is a designation given by the Supreme Court for filing matters before the Supreme Court, and that's a designation that's an added advantage for getting matters for the Supreme Court. And yes, to clear our examination, it requires little preparation, and some efforts are actually required for clearing the our examination. The passing percentage may be 10 to 15 percentage. That itself shows that you required some good preparation to clear the AOR examination. Most of the questions or the syllabus for the AOR examination may be related to the practical side of drafting and the practice and procedure, the leading cases, which can be mastered by having a practice of at least 1 year. The Supreme Court will give you the skill set regarding how to draft an SLP, or how to draft a 32 petition, or how to file a transfer petition before the Supreme Court. The better way to learn the AOR thing would be do something practical. Skill set is the main thing which is required to clear AOR examination rather than the theoretical background. And obviously, the leading cases, if you want to draft a good petition, it should be supported with the settled laws or the authoritative pronouncement of the Supreme Court. So, to have a better understanding on the leading cases will definitely equip in your drafting. And yes, the practice and procedure that will tell you on what circumstances you can file or approach before the Supreme Court, and how the Supreme Court deals with matters under Article 136 or 32 petitions, or even the original jurisdiction. Supreme Court can even straight away entertain the original suit. So all those things are actually related to the practical side of litigation before the Supreme Court. So 1 year of preparation, a sincere preparation, would definitely help you to clear the AOR examination. And the Supreme Court, the website itself, you could see the previous question papers and the materials and the kind of questions, and the syllabus also is available in the website. There is an AOR section that is there. There is a separate link, and you can get all this information from the Supreme Court website itself. And I know that the kind of interviews and such things are, I think, is a repository of information, maybe even available in our website also.
Thank you so much, sir, because very, very small information also is very helpful to the people who do not know where to go to. Now, I would like to move on and understand about your work life balance, which is a very important question nowadays, keeping the mental health in check and your own physical health. Then, how do you balance all of it with the kind of busy schedule that you have with your cases? Is it just the hobbies or interests that you have outside the law background, or how do you make sure that you carve out time for your family also? Because I feel that's one of the very important things, and that's what we want to understand from you. And also, sir, I would like to add one small query about mental health. What are your views about mental health related to lawyers, especially because we definitely are under a lot of pressure?
Very interesting question and very relevant question. A balanced life is very much required for any professional. We should be successful in our life. Obviously, a successful lawyer, that is what the aim of all of us. But at the same time, we should be a successful father, or a successful son, or a successful brother. A balanced life only will make us successful in all walks of life, including the family life, personal life, community life, and a professional life. So a balanced life is very much required. There are some super lawyers. They have a wonderful practice, super practice, but their family, it's a very broken family, because they are unable to give time to their partners, and such kind of issues are there. And there are lawyers, they may not find time for themselves by completing 40, 45 years of their life. They may be having an amazing practice, but health wise very weak. So there, Divyaji, your question is very important. We should know how to balance our life, our private life, our personal life, professional life. We should find the time for all of this. Then only we can ultimately have a successful life. By compromising something, there is no point in achieving something. And obviously, mental health is an emerging concern. Even for our small kids, it's a concern. I told that COVID has given us a lot of opportunity, but at the same time, the technology, the kind of abuse, the screen timing is actually increased substantially. And nowadays, even the kids, they don't interact with their peer group or with their family. The time is reduced, and technology has taken most of our time. And yes, obviously, a lot of advantages are there. So let us make use of all these things in the right perspective so that we can have a proper balanced life. And that is very much required for a successful life and a contented, happy life, precisely.
Amazingly put, sir. Yes, screen time has increased, and definitely there are many perspectives which we have to keep in check all the time. World is changing, so is India. Sir, as a successful advocate, what advice would you like to impart on the first generation lawyers, especially who are looking to start their practice itself? What kind of challenges do you think that one faces as an independent litigator, because you have been one, and the kind of message that you will give to the young litigating lawyers, it will make a see amount of change for them. They need to understand how to start, what kind of way to follow, because sometimes we have a tendency of giving up way too early. But I just want to have that view from you, because you did not give up and you actually made your name. So for that matter, please share your views.
Divyaji, is always embarrassing to speak on our personal side. And let me also just say that I am not claiming as a successful lawyer, nothing as such, but I would like to present as a student of law at this time, or even spending in our profession for almost 17 years. With that experience, I would like to give some observations on the profession that, yes, to achieve in this noble profession, some of the skill sets are actually required, and that can be achieved by having a committed or a dedicated lifestyles, or if we are sincere with our profession, definitely the profession will support us. And you need not think that I am a first generation lawyer, or my roots are from a very remote place, or I am not so proficient in my communication. Maybe our people may be having a lot of apprehensions like this, but there is no place for all these kind of apprehension that I'm a first generation lawyer or I'm from a very normal humble background. There is no connection with the judges. We know that a lot of young lawyers are coming from the family background of judges or senior lawyers. Maybe easy for them to settle initially in their profession, but even for them, this profession require continuous dedication, hard work, and commitment. And if you have that, definitely you can also achieve a lot in this profession. And this is one of the wonderful professions in the world. There are jobs which may be on a routine kind of things, but a lawyer is getting every day new matters, new atmosphere, new judges, new legal system, or every day our profession and the legal system is changing. So we need to develop the habit of updating ourselves on a daily basis. That may not be required for other profession, but being a successful professional, it requires certain skill set. And if you can develop that skill set, including excellent communication skills, yes, definitely. Initially, your communication has to happen by your drafting. So you should possess how to draft effectively with proper authorities. Then oral arguments again very important. There are certain skill set that will make you a super lawyer. And you need to maintain your clientele. That is again a skill set. You know how to handle your clients, and at the same time, you may be having a lot of pressure, family wise or income wise, lot of pressure, lot of disturbance, lot of distractions. But you should be able to handle all such things, and definitely this profession will help us to handle the issues of life, because we are dealing with the issues of human beings. Maybe family issues we may be dealing, or there are multiple issues. And that will make us not only as a successful professional, this profession will make us good human beings also. That is one of the best thing of this profession. So Let me thank Divya ji for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And you raised all questions in such a way. And as I told, sharing our personal side, it's really embarrassing. And we are always afraid to share our personal side. But you raised all questions in such a way so that I could also share some of my experience. Thanks again.
So thank you so much for being so humble and agreeing to be with us. And once again, from Super Lawyer team, from my side, Namrata side, we thank you. And I cannot thank you enough to sharing your story. Yes, we are always shy of sharing our private motivations, private life, but you did it so beautifully. I hope the learners who will be watching this video, they can understand what better they can do and how better they can be in life. And once again, sir, thank you so much for being here, giving us so much time.
Thank you very much, Divya ji, for giving me this opportunity. And you are actually supporting our young professionals in such a big way. Please continue your good job. Our support would be always there. And best wishes to all the participants. And thanks again.
And so we would just like to add a small thing that we do not charge anything for all these interviews. There may be some misconceptions, but yes, we are doing it absolutely for the community and nothing else. And hope you will also tell your fellow lawyers that this is what Super Lawyer is doing. Hope we get all the support from the fraternity as well. Thank you so much, sir.